Good evening, everyone. Really excited to be back here today once again. This is another heartfelt conversation. Last week, we managed to have a conversation with Anya Vij. It was a great interaction, and I think a number of you joined in and also had some very kind words to share. I think it was a great start to this heartfelt conversations program of mine, and I really excited to carry this forward with different speakers through the course of the next few months. Today, I'm extremely honored.
Hello, Ramesh sir. I think some of that audio was lost, if I'm not mistaken. I might have to repeat some of that. Is that
Yeah,
all right?
your voice, you are muted, I think. Yeah,
Is it clear now?
I it's clear now. It's okay.
So,
Can
so
am
my
I
sincere
am
apologies,
I
sir.
audible? Am I
Yes,
audible?
you are clear, clear, clear.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know where I dropped off, but I'll just recap that it was very kind of Ramesh sir to agree to be a guest on the show for me. It's the second episode in my HR in my Heart series, Heartfelt Conversation. And Ramesh sir is a leadership and personal transformation coach. He's someone who's been there, done that. There's a quote which he shared some time ago with me, which said, "एक जनूर और थोड़ा पागलपन जरूरी है." And the fact is that in our lives today, really that amount of passion, that madness is essential if we really want to stand out and make something of ourselves. And no better person to talk about it than Ramesh sir, because he's done that consistently in his life. Right from the tender age of 6, when he became a carom champion in the local tournament, to at the age of 9, where he became a player in the sub junior basketball team. At 13, he was playing badminton. And at 14, he started learning table tennis. And at 16, he played the junior nationals. At 17, he played the nationals, the senior nationals. So you can see from this that personal transformation is something that comes almost automatically to Ramesh sir. And that's something he's leveraged for himself in his life. And now he continues to do that for a lot of people that he coaches. Interestingly, at the age of 22 in 1982, he also left his home, a very well established family with businesses, background, stability, to move on and start from zero on his own merit. And of course, we've all seen that in the next few decades, he's managed to do exactly that. He's played a huge role in the corporate world, worked in operations, he's worked in the HR space where he's managed the entire, hiring to retire life cycle for employees. He's established himself as a senior leader, having handled very complex HR mandates. And also along the way, he coached himself. He got qualified in HR, acquiring a postgraduate degree. He's written more than 5 books, I understand, one of which is also a book on poetry. He's compared shows with none other than stalwarts like Amitabh Bachchan. And guess what? It doesn't stop there, right? Transformation is ongoing. It's essential. At 2010, he leaves his well-established job and starts as an independent trainer. Now look at the irony of that. But most people at that age may start off thinking of stability and taking an easy path. He decides just to go independent. And he, again, with that same dedication, he builds his training venture, his coaching, practice. And today he works with some of the top leaders across the country, giving them personalized one-on-one coaching. He's also done that with strategy, with education, where he's an NLP certified trainer. He's also created his own module on coaching, which is called Rediscover Your Awesomeness. It's trademark, by the way. And of course, his brand Simply Sood is well known. So, Ramesh sir, really, really thrilled to have you with us today. And I'm sure all of us will benefit a lot from your guidance. Thank you so much. I'm honored that you've decided and agreed to be on the show today.
Vikas, thank you so much. I am feeling so honored. I am deeply honored. You can't imagine I am having goosebumps at this moment because I never imagined this thing can happen ever. Because not many people are very comfortable in inviting me. Let me tell you one thing that my slogan that became very popular even today. Once somebody has liked that post, jigar hai to HR hai, right? So I personally have not seen many people with that kind of a jigger, to invite me for a chat like this, because people are always wondering what I will say, correct? Because मैं तो दिल से बोलता हूँ.
Right.
हिंदी में तो in between, right?
Of course.
ओके, तो मैं तो दिल से बोलता हूँ, राइट? दिमाग को मैं इस्तेमाल करता हूँ जिधर करना जरूरी है, राइट? Because otherwise mind wants to be used all the time. I don't let my mind use me. So that is one thing which I've learned. Okay, so I will always say what I want to say. Earlier, I will say it very hard way, in a very hard way, making enemies, but I learned over the years, right? So now I say the same thing in a little politer way, in a better way. I started using language. Thank you so much. तो जिगर आपके पास है विकास, and और आप एचआर में हो, and you are a
Thank
very
you.
rare HR one who has that jigger of having invited me, and I am sure that I will prove worthy of your confidence in me, and we will have a hearty chat. Yes, I am sure that we'll have good heartfelt conversation. And thank you very much everyone who is here, and some of you, of course, I have been interacting with. I have seen the names who are attending, and yeah, I hope to meet expectations of everybody, and I am going to keep it
I'm
simple.
sure.
Sure.
No, I'm sure you'll more than exceed expectations, because The very fact of having you on and so early in the show was the fact that, and I'm going to repeat this. I said this in one of the quotes, in one of the posts that amidst all the content and amidst the sharing that we see on a platform like LinkedIn, I think yours really stood out for me in terms of the honesty and the transparency with which you share, because it comes from, I'm sure, a certain space of confidence arising from having done that, जो कहते हैं ना हाथ से किया है, or uh, and also an intent which is well meaning, that let's be honest to everyone. Let's call a spade, because after all, if we don't, maybe know our own shortcomings or know where we stand in life, how do we move on from there? So, सच्चाई से बात करते हैं, and let's work together to uplift everyone. So, really, I think the benefit and the justice will be all there thanks to you today, sir. And with that, let's move on. I've been looking forward to this conversation all through the last 2 weeks since we spoke, and I wanted to just ask you to kick this off. That we talk about personal growth as a sort of stepping stone to professional growth. So when it comes to personal growth, what is the first thing that's required? What is
Yeah,
essential? What is the prerequisite?
wonderful, wonderful question. Because tell me one thing. Supposing you have to tell yourself that there is a moment when you have grown as a person, and you want to pat your back, right? That yes, at this moment I have grown up as a person. What would that moment be? I mean, you need not tell me the story, but then
Sure.
what will that moment, what kind of moment that will be when you will be able to pat your back? Yes, because you have grown as a person and you will be able to see in the mirror and, feel nice about it. So, what do you think?
Thinking about it, I think maybe when I'm able to resist a temptation, hold back a temptation, when I know
Your
there is a
voice,
high reward.
your voice is
Uh,
dropping. Yeah,
is it better now? I said possibly when I'm able to resist a temptation
I
for a
can
high
hear.
reward because it is against a core value of mine. Maybe that comes to mind, because I think today's times there are a lot of
Okay.
opportunities, you can say, or a lot of motivations to change and do things outside of your core values. But if you can stand up to them, and I've seen you do that, you displayed it number of times in your life where you stood up for your values. So I think that would be for me
Okay.
also.
Yes, I fully agree. Let me share my, something which I wrote, and let me share a bit of story, for really bringing that out. What you said, yes. See, I wrote a four liner in my small book of poetry, a little more than ordinary. In that I wrote, in a dark street, my heart and mind could not meet because God was kind,
So,
right? That I stopped myself from doing something which would not have helped me, which would be a burden on my soul. See, what happened was, one of my bosses very early in my career was leaving the company, and I was one of the favorites. I was top performer that time, and I was recognized also by the company with highest award. And he said that once I go, you will be, some people need to be, somebody needs to be there who will take care of you, because it is not easy to take care of you. You are
mm,
so dynamic, you are too fast in and you are too committed and too loyal. So he said so many things, and he said, so what I will do, I will place you before going to his position where you will be more visible, and you have handled that area, which has been a good area, right? And you will be visible and you will grow faster. So I said, sir, what will happen to the person who is already doing that?
mm,
He said, that is none of your business. I said, then I'm sorry, I won't be able to accept your request, because I don't think I will like to do that, because in that moment when I was thinking, something sank in me, something felt very uncomfortable, that you will be making a person move to some other place from the place where he is working just to be visible. I said, sir, I will become visible in any which way, you don't worry about me, and thank you so much. And I remembered, so that temptation of, getting into, in fact, I had put a post on this years ago when that voting system had started. So there was a 50-50 thing. 50% people said you did the wrong thing, you should have taken the opportunity, and 50% said that you did the right thing. So I knew that the world was divided in these kind of things, right, today. But that night I want to share a Hindi poem with you. That night I got a core value, which I have lived even today with. Can I share a poem in Hindi?
Sure, please, of course.
That night, I wrote, छूना चाहता हूं मैं भी आसमानों को, छूना चाहता हूं मैं भी आसमानों को, मगर नहीं बना सकता हूं सीढ़ियां इंसानों को। तो फिर कैसे हो पाएंगी मेरी इच्छाएं पूरी, मुझ में और इंसानों में, आसमानों में बढ़ जाएगी दूरी। और छू भी लूं मैं अगर सितारों से लदे आसमानों को, बना भी लूं अगर मैं सीढ़ियां इंसानों को, तो फिर कैसे हो पाएंगी, फिर कैसे मिल पाएगी मुझे शांति कहीं पर, आत्मा तो रह जाएगी वहीं नीचे जमीन पर। जिसे कुचल देंगे उन लोगों के अपने पांव, जिनके सरों पर रखूंगा मैं मेरे अदने पांव। तो ऐसी ऊंचाइयों को क्यों फिर पाऊं मैं, अपनी ही नजरों से क्यों गिर जाऊं मैं। खुश हूं
Beautiful.
इनसे जुड़कर जूझूंगा, झुकेगा एक दिन आसमान, बस यूं ही छू लूंगा।
Wow.
So I made a core value that I am not going to use people. I am going to love people. I am going to use things and love people, not the other way around. Love things and use people. It's a beautiful quote somebody said years ago. Right? So I decided on my core value. That is the moment when I really grew up as a person. That was perhaps a time when I started growing as a person. From there, a lot of things happened. It was kind of a fountain, a stream where lot of things I did later on. So that was the start. So a core
So
value was decided.
amazing.
And I
So
believe
really,
that.
really touching, and I think Rashmi here has already commented, "Wow, what a poem!" And
Thank you.
I think
Thanks.
there's something you should definitely make into a video and release at some point.
Because,
Uh,
in fact, somebody has already recorded it. Maybe he is also attending the session.
Lovely.
I don't know
In fact,
whether.
Lois is asking if you can translate a bit in English. So if you can give the core
Okay,
message,
yeah.
I think it'll
It
be
is
really
like
helpful.
this. Yeah, it is in vernacular translation. It is that I want to touch skies. Correct. I want to touch skies. But I don't want to climb by putting my feet over head of others. Correct, on overhead of anybody.
Right.
And Shrikant Keth is the person who recorded this, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thank you, Shrikant. And if even if I will, put my foot on your head to climb, my soul is going to, fall in on the ground. It is going to be dusted by the same person's feet, on whose head I will be putting my, feet to climb. So why should I do that? Because my soul need to keep on shining and glittering, isn't it? That is the fun. That will give the glow. Shine can come from sun, and then shine goes when the sun goes. But the glow is always permanent from inside. So I wanted to keep that. So therefore I made it a core value that I am not going to, use anybody to climb. And I have been refusing those kind of, offers. You scratch my back, I will scratch your back. I tell people that I don't have a back. I left it behind in Ludhiana, when I left my home. So I'm with a spine only. There's no back, so you can't scratch it. I'm sorry, because you can't scratch, so I will also not scratch. That's how it works.
Amazing.
So
So, superb. Thank you for sharing that. And I think, like I shared earlier in the introduction, also, that is something I have known about you, where you have stood up for yourself, and you are someone who's, uh, I mean, we can't even imagine give away that kind of lineage and background and say, uh, I'm starting literally from zero. वो हिंदी
that
movies में
was fun.
देखा है. Very few
That was
people are
fun.
able to do it in life. So, uh, वो कहाँ से आता है? How do you get it, sir? I mean, where does that
I I don't know. I'll tell you
is it importance of core values? Is that
yeah,
something
core
we should all
value.
be thinking about?
Core value. See, my father, when I was 5 years old, or 6 years maybe, or maybe seven, I don't remember also. He will come from office and he will make me sit in his lap and he will say, Ramesh, आज अच्छा क्या किया और बुरा क्या किया, आज क्या क्या किया. So I will list it out. And then he will say, इसमें अच्छा क्या था और बुरा क्या था. Right? And I will tell him, as per my own judgment at that age. And then he will define अच्छा और बुरा. Are you getting it? So what
Right.
happened? He instilled lot of values in me about wrong and right. So I will always find that little burden on my soul, whenever I will find myself doing something which is not good. Right?
Correct.
But then as we grow, we keep on doing certain things which are not good. Correct? And for that reason, I think for that reason, perhaps I became very strong. In the sense, I will get that hint कि ये ठीक नहीं है.
Hmm.
But then times, there are times when you lose out, and then you have to sit back. For that also I have created something on self awareness, when from where it all bloomed, then after that it bloomed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, moving on from there, because again, want to deep dive a little bit more into personal growth.
Yeah.
As per
Yes.
you, after having worked in the corporate world, done your own independent venture, working now and guiding others to, grow professionally, what are the dimensions that they should be looking at? Uh,
Yes. Yes. I think because I am personally convinced about growth is not necessarily about adding new behaviors to you.
hmm,
No, I think first thing is to remove behaviors which are not correct, which are not adding any value to you. Okay, because what happens is you whenever you say yes to something, you are saying
hmm,
no to something else,
correct.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
many a time what happens is we say yes to something, but we say no to something better. We say something, good to something, but we say no to something better. So we decline, actually, we don't grow. We
Hmm,
think that we have done something very great, but in another dimension, we have gone down.
hmm,
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
yeah.
So my point is, if you are plus in something and minus in another, end result will be zero. You have not grown,
Right.
isn't it? So I
Correct.
created a simple formula, which I will tell little later. So what I want to tell you is that removing a bad habit is the first thing which will help you grow, right? Otherwise it will not work. I'll tell you, I got into habit of playing cards
Hmm,
somewhere in 87 to 89, 90 somewhere. Okay.
hmm,
No, no, life gives you hints. Life gives you hints all the time. If you
hmm,
pick them up and follow life, nothing like that. I was playing cards evenings, sometime nights. So my weekend and my pre Saturday night, that will go in cards, and
hmm,
Sunday afternoon will go in cards. So I will not be with family. And one fine day, what happened? My new boss, when I got shifted to a department, my new boss also was playing with us cards. Okay, one night he lost some money
hmm,
and he didn't have cash, and he was to pay me.
hmm,
No, it was very embarrassing situation. Your boss is sitting and this is what is happened. And we went home. Next day I was in office and suddenly his PA comes and hands over me the cash.
hmm,
I said, what is this? She said, sir ने दिया है.
hmm,
I said, नहीं नहीं sir को वापस दे दो. I sent the money back and he called me to his office and he said, look at the words. He said, जुए के पैसे रखते नहीं, जुए में हारे तो हारे, पैसे रखते नहीं.
hmm,
उन्होंने वर्ड जुआ यूज किया ना,
hmm,
कि वो सारे महाभारत याद आ गए उधर.
hmm.
मुझे मेरी मॉम याद आ गई, who was no more.
Right.
ओके. और मेरे सामने वो कार्ड्स एक ऐसी चीज बन के आ गए which was something very very bad. You
Hmm.
won't believe, next day onwards, from that moment onwards till today, I have not touched cards or gambling. That
Wow.
one word made such a huge shift, which I was not able to make for 1.5 years to 2 years.
Hmm.
So in that moment, when I decided I will not play, when I went home, that Saturday evening came, you won't believe, I will see the cards in that रोटी में कार्ड दिख रहा था प्लेट में, कि मेरे को मतलब इतनी आदत थी उस टाइम की, माइंड वाज सो प्रोग्राम्ड कि वो
Hmm.
टाइम हो गया, अभी कार्ड्स दिखने चाहिए, राइट? सो
Hmm.
रोटी में कार्ड दिख रहे थे मुझे, बच्चों के चेहरों में कार्ड दिख रहे थे. I told my wife, lock the door from inside and throw the key. I should not go out. I think in that moment I grew up as a person. I really grew up as a person from that moment. It was unimaginable for me.
Wow. I can sense that little emotional feeling you're also getting at this time when you're even talking about that episode.
Yeah.
वो साफ दिख रहा है.
And people
And,
tell me this cigarette नहीं छोड़ सकते sir.
hmm.
So I always wonder why. I mean, I have never seen a person dying because he has left cigarette. Have you ever seen? Have you heard that somebody has died because he left cigarette?
Hmm.
Why people can't leave it? Simply don't smoke. That's it.
Right.
So bad habits से बाहर आना is growth. You are growing as
Right.
a person.
Mm.
Quite
Thank you
obviously,
for
when
being
you
so
get,
vulnerable.
yeah,
And
when you will get out of a bad habit, you will have that time. You know, my evenings, Saturday evenings started. I started reading so much.
mm,
My Sunday afternoons will go in reading and playing with my kids. I mean, my life changed just for that one bad, stupid habit which I left.
lovely to
So
hear. I think.
I think for personal growth, we should person should say two things need to be done. What are my core values? You know, in my first ever video, which was ever recorded, was on leadership. Some people come to me, they say, "Sir, we want to become leaders." Have you okay? You want to become leaders? Yes. Do you follow somebody? No, sir. There is nobody worth following.
Mm,
Then do you follow your values?
mm,
No, sir, we don't know. We have not yet thought on that. Okay, then sit down and write your values.
mm,
That will be the first step. Sir, but we don't know what is a value. A value is which you will like to hold tight, for which you can give your life.
mm.
Core value is that. आप सोने को बहुत वैल्यू देते हो ना, आपकी तिजोरी में अगर 10-15 किलो पड़ा है और चोर आ गए तो आप क्या
Right.
करोगे? आप मरने मारने पे उतारू हो जाओगे, राइट? यू विल गिव योर लाइफ because you value that goal so much. So your value also has to be like that core value.
Got it.
Nothing going. Come what may, I will not.
Superb. I think really appreciate you sharing that with so much vulnerability. And
No, what vulnerability? I mean, this is it's very normal life. I mean, this vulnerable word बना के ना Americans ने आप लोगों को सबको बहुत वो कर दिया. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Confused कर दिया. I mean, let me tell you, all these words, and I don't believe in that jargon at all. Trust me.
that's
You
one
always
question I
know
will
how
come
to
to
live.
later.
Let me tell you, our mothers have been the best coaches. They have always told us how to live. Only we tend to forget as we grow. So yes, I also forgot. There are many stories with me where memories came back and I changed, right? But point is, are you willing?
Right.
First thing is, are you willing to today write down your core values and
Sure.
decide I will not put my foot on the head of another person? Whereas in corporate,
Mm,
that is the way people grow. You have to
mm,
put your feet on somebody's head,
mm.
right? Otherwise, you can't grow. So
The
I
truth is
don't,
that your
yeah.
sharing will definitely, I'm sure today, a lot of people listening in, maybe hopefully, I'm hoping also that someone will get motivated if there is a bad habit or there is something they're struggling with. Maybe there is a little push to say, okay, if Ramesh sir can do it, I can also do it. That's the
See,
hope.
you have to talk to your brain. Fundamentally, you have to make your brain your friend
Right.
because your brain is going to push you for that bad habit. It's programmed. I'm an NLP master, so
Correct.
behaviors are programmed, but you can change those programs. That is
Mm,
something very interesting. And it's not very difficult. See, my problem is when you go to somebody, people will say, "Oh my God, this is a very serious problem.
mm,
Let us talk and sit." You ask my coaches, I have never revealed my coaches ever. If somebody ever wants to say, whenever somebody comes to me with a big problem, I will say, "Oh my goodness, your problem has become half
mm,
because you have shared it with me.
right.
It's already become half."
Mm,
And जो भी आप बोल रहे हो वो problem है ही नहीं है. And you trust me, in my whole writing of 4,000 stories till today, I have not used the word problem.
interesting.
There are situations which come and life throws you into them, and then you have to move forward. That's it.
Super.
You can't
So,
say कि ये क्या हो गया. You have to be a doer. You have to be an action oriented person.
correct. So, moving on, I think before we move on, I just want to let my and our audience know that we are running a little poll here or a contest really. It's in the chat wherever you are, whether on LinkedIn or on YouTube. Just put in this hashtag simply soon, and we'll be running a draw towards the end of the session. The computer will decide who the lucky winner is, and that one person will get a copy of my book, HR in My Heart, Leadership Lessons Like Never Before. I'll personally autograph that and send it across. So make a note of this, and the contest starts now. So please uh, do the needful. Both Ramesh sir and I have nothing to do with the selection of the winner. The system will decide it, and we are hoping one of you gets this copy of this book. Uh, moving it off from here and getting back to our guest today. Uh,
Ramesh sir, I also want to, and there's a question that I have, because when you talk of uh, personal transformation, there are different pillars, right? There is your self-awareness, there is relationship, social, there is mental or continuous learning, there is a spiritual dimension, a health dimension. So when one is looking at working on oneself, is there a set or a defined path in terms of where does one start? I'll tell you why I'm asking this, because if you look around, in majority of the cases, I realize or I observe that spirituality is possibly the last pillar anyone works on or starts attacking on. And generally, one is elderly by that stage, early career, mid career, we tend to ignore spirituality. Health, maybe we get into little early because there's a sort of physical uh, dimension to it as well. Where again, today we are so flooded with all these six-pack abs and things like that. तो इसमें कोई पैटर्न है, और हाउ डज वन काइंड ऑफ स्टार्ट कि ओके आई वांट टू वर्क ऑन माई सेल्फ बट
Yes. Yes, I'll tell you what. See, I can tell you from my own experience, because I seldom pick up experiences of others to share, because I don't know whether truth is there or not. Half the truth rahega, I don't know. So I will tell you what I did. I think first and more foremost is, which I think Marshall Goldsmith also says, to find triggers which tempt you to do things, right? There are triggers which make you do things. So what is it that made you uncomfortable? Feelings is the only place which is true. Your feeling can never be untrue, your feeling can never be false. It's not possible. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, it means you are in a situation where either you have done something which is not right, or some other person has not done something which is right. So this thing will happen, that you will have to look at that we should not do wrong things. That is the start. I'll tell you what I did was, frankly, the first thing, when I look back at my life, I realized that I was very arrogant. Very arrogant. Ek to, I had money, correct? Second, I was kind of a star, a sportsman. Okay. And I knew so many big people. So इज्जत करना तो आता ही नहीं था. Arrogance थी. And when I started getting into trouble, when I started, looking at myself, that I needed to grow, incidentally, I found this book, Seven Habits, correct? I read that. I lived that book for years. And even today, I live that. My website has a letter from Dr. Stephen Covey, but I have never said that I'm a Seven Habits practitioner. Okay. I never claimed that to be. So what happened was, when I started looking back, I realized that there are at least 10 people whom I have hurt very badly. Okay, darkest of behavior. So I wrote 4 lines: to the darkest corners of my inner space, to visit the darkest corners of my inner space, I dare. Right? To visit the darkest corners of my inner space, I dare. It is this fearlessness, perhaps, that will make me self-aware. So I went inside and I realized that those behaviors were very dark. 10 people, I had hurt them. And I decided that I am going to meet all the 10 and I am going to seek their forgiveness. I could meet 9. One we had lost, and maybe agle janam mein milunga usse, right? But those 9 people I met, and I still remember one person who was very senior to me. In fact, he had thrown a glass of water on my face. I have written this story also sometime. Okay. And when I was making the list, my subconscious says, subconscious says, iska naam kyun dal raha hai? He needs to seek forgiveness from you, right? And my conscious says, Ramesh, no, don't listen to your subconscious, because the reason is how much you must have provoked him that he had to do that. So I realized that whenever something wrong happens, wherever it happens, with whomsoever it happens, I have definitely played a part. Unfortunately, what happens, we always look at other person's aggressive behavior with us, correct? And we are not able to take the responsibility on us, that I have also contributed. So what I did is, my contribution I was able to very clearly see, and I went to Ludhiana searching for one person, went to a club, brought him out of his game. He was playing TT. He was very senior to me, elderly. I brought him out. I remember holding his hands and making him remember that past episode and saying to him, I am sorry for having provoked you so much. My fault. And you trust me, I believe, if even there is one person whom you have hurt and you have not sought forgiveness, it will be kind of a speed breaker in the flow of life. Right? Then spirituality, what you talked about, that has to be moving along with whatever you are doing. It has to, spirituality has to go hand in hand with it. And let me tell you about spirituality something very interesting, because
बताइए.
spirituality, if I am into meditation, then I will be the last person to explain what is meditation. I can't. I can't, because meditation is such an experience which you can't tell others that this is what happens or how it happens. Okay, because spirituality start you can tell yourself that now you are connected after magic comes into your life. That suddenly you find serendipity working for you regularly and constantly. Then you know you have reached there, and that is what you are doing. You are getting connected with that spirit, with the bigger spirit outside, upward somewhere, right?
Right.
That mind, and further mind that Joe Dispenza has talked about so much on that, correct? I don't go into technical things, so मेरा कहने का मतलब यही है कि एक लेवल पे माइंड है, उसके आगे एक बड़ा माइंड है, करेक्ट? और हमारे को उसके साथ कनेक्ट करना है. वी नीड टू कनेक्ट विद दैट, एंड after you have connected, that you will know only when serendipity will start playing role in your life. And I found many stories, many things happening with me in a flow. But then that was not the end. That is not that my life became magical, because then again that some arrogance will creep in, somewhere, because it will happen, because so many things are happening and you start using that power maybe for something wrong. And maybe God gives you a lesson. And for me, the lesson came, I met with an accident. And nobody, I did not hit anybody. It was God hitting me. I was alone on the road singing a song, right in the morning, driving my two-wheeler scooty, and I fell and I was unconscious. After that, see, I was sitting for 40 minutes into deep stance or meditation or mindfulness, whatever you call it, I don't know. I will sit and focus on breathing, and I don't know what will happen after that, where I will go. I will see people, places, whatever, and I will come back exactly after 40 minutes. This happened for 7 years, and I will do it all the time on rising sun. Wherever I am, I will find the place in that city where the sun rises, and I will go and sit. Can I share a story here?
Of course, please.
See, I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Once you're into that and you don't preach people, I don't preach. You will never see me writing word should in my stories. You should do this. People do that. I have never used people and should, okay? Never. What I do, I will share. That's it. आपको लेना है ले लो, नहीं तो it's okay. बल्ले बल्ले, right? पंजाबी में बोलते हैं. So what happened is, I went to Khargon in MP for campus interviews to an engineering college. Me and one of my senior fellows, we took Jhelum from a junction called Dond. Means I joined him at Dond to go to Khandwa, and we were to get down in Khandwa, and that was early morning. And now when we were getting down at Khandwa, मेरे दिमाग में वही था कि rising sun कहाँ मिलना है, मुझे meditation करनी है, right? I was so focused on that. And but there was no chance, or rising or sunrise का time हो गया, and we were still searching for a hotel. And I was sure that that day I was going to miss that moment. And then we took a hotel, we went there, and I told my senior fellow, that sir, okay, let's go to the room, because I may have to sit for some time in my room only. He said, मैंने उन्हें बताया था कि राइजिंग सन चाहिए. He said, आज क्या करोगे? बोला, दिमाग के आसमान में सूरज लाऊंगा, है ना, तो उसी को फोकस करूंगा जो रोज देखता हूँ. He said, okay. तो वो रूम ले लिया उन्हें, वो मैं उनके साथ जाने लगा. मेरे को बोले, आप कहाँ आ रहे हो? This is okay. I said, sir, आपके साथ अभी रूम में जाना है ना? He said, नहीं, I have taken a separate room for myself. You take your room. And I was dumbstruck. Trust me. For me, that was a new experience. I had not realized till that time that there is hierarchy, Because I never bothered about hierarchy. That was my arrogance. So then what happened? I was taken to a room, separate room, जिधर दो दरवाजे थे एक्स्ट्रा, एक एंट्री और दो सामने. So
Hmm.
one door he opened, it opened to the road. Then
Okay.
I said, दूसरा दरवाजा कौन सा? कहता सर नहीं खोलते हम, इधर इधर थोड़ा सा गंदा है, टेरेस है, घास वास उगी
Hmm.
हुई है. मैंने बोला यार खोल के तो दिखा दे, पता तो चले मैं किस रूम में सो रहा हूँ, रात को नींद ना आए. He
Hmm.
opened the door, Vikas, and you trust me, between me and rising sun there was nothing. Nothing. It was big red sun on the edge of that, and I simply sat there. You know, I just sat there and meditated.
Hmm.
And that is when I realized that I am connected. And thereafter, you trust me, I have so many stories to tell from magic of life. It is unbelievable. And even today, my family also sometimes wonder कि ये होता क्या है यार, आप कुछ चाहते हो अपने आप हो जाता है. So I say now I live in always in a meditative state all the time. So लोग बोलते हैं एनर्जी कहाँ से आती है, कहाँ से जाती, पता नहीं कहाँ से आती है. I am 64 now. मुझे नहीं पता
Right.
एनर्जी कहाँ से आती है, right? I don't know. I say I receive energy from everything and anything. You know, everything is
Right.
created. Every person who
Beautiful.
passes by, I pray for that person, I get the energy.
Agree.
Because if you're passing by me, you have spent whole of your lifetime. I have spent whole of my lifetime to be in that moment when we are passing by.
Right.
Even if you
Wow.
don't look at me, fine, I will pray for you. And if you look at me, you are going to become my friend forever. Okay, so this is how it is.
That's clearly the case. I think I'm seeing a lot of flood of comments in the comment box as well, and we have Anya also. You remember last week she was
Yeah, oh,
the
she's
guest.
super. At her age, she is doing great.
Imagine, and that's the beauty of this platform, the connections that we're building. Where you know, just last week I remember you complimenting her, and today she's taken out the time to sit and listen into you, and
God
I
bless her.
can see that uh,
God
when
bless
you
her.
both come from very different backgrounds and experience, there is learning that one can take from anywhere, and that's
God bless
what
her.
we're trying to
Yes.
facilitate here. So thank you,
Yes.
Anya, for joining in.
For social, you asked me a social, right? Right? Social
Yes.
growth. Let me tell you, one is this, that you accept every person the way they are,
Hmm.
correct? But now, in between, something very interesting happened when I told you that that accident happened and all that, correct? My connect broke and I was in mess and I became very bitter.
Hmm.
From one of the most positive people on the planet, I became one of the most negative people on the planet. What happened, I don't know. It was simply, as if devil wanted to, test me,
Hmm.
right? And devil was winning. I
Right.
was judging people like anything. I was judging people like anything. And the moment you judge a person, you are telling that person one simple thing कि तुम मुझसे थोड़े कम हो,
Hmm.
करेक्ट? तो जैसे आप किसी को प्रूव करते हो कि तुम मुझसे थोड़े कम हो, that person goes out with lesser energy than with
Hmm.
which he has come to you. Okay, so I realized it took me many years, because it took me many years, because I personally believe that personal growth is a work in progress. That mind reading is about judgment. Like if I tell you, my coach told me once, if I tell you, Vikas, eat an apple, correct?
Hmm.
So I'm mind reading that Vikas already knows what is an apple.
Right.
So mind reading is so ingrained in us that we want to judge people, we want to interrupt people. हम किसी की बात पूरी होने देते नहीं. We stop the person in between because I know better than you. How the hell you can be, better than me? I am better than you. I want to speak, correct? Now what happened was, one day I was standing outside with my wife and she was watering the plants and she says, RS, क्या सोच रहे हो? I was deep in thoughts. I said, यार, मैं लिखता था ना पोएट्री, तो मेरे दिमाग में हमेशा सोचे चलती थी. मैंने बोला यार, ये गुलाब और ये कैक्टस दोनों साथ साथ में साले कभी झगड़ते नहीं. So I'm thinking.
Hmm.
Then I said, what is the reason? Reason is Rose has never tried to make cactus like him,
Hmm.
and cactus has never made Rose do things like him.
Hmm.
So they have accepted each other's presence the way they are, and they both live in each other's glory,
Beautiful.
right? And then I wrote a verse in my English book, that little more than ordinary book has that some verses there I'm forgetting now to repeat that. उसका मतलब यही है कि गुलाब और कैक्टस इकट्ठे खड़े थे,
Hmm.
दोनों की अच्छी जम रही थी, और उसका कारण सिर्फ इतना ही था कि दोनों ही कोशिश नहीं कर रहे थे कि मेरे जैसे बनो.
Right.
And then I learned this later in NLP. Okay, that map is not the territory. We all come with our own maps. मेरे पास अगर लुधियाना का मैप है तो मैं उसमें दिल्ली की सड़कें नहीं ढूंढ सकता, right?
Correct.
So if a person is talking to me, then I have to talk to the person in a way that the person understands.
Hmm.
Correct? Now, person's way of understanding could be very different. So I wrote in my book, Relations to Relations is a small book in which I have written that uh, it is not that you were wrong. It is only that I didn't understand how you understood. So maybe I should have worked on that. Correct? So once you start doing it, you will realize that nobody is ever wrong. They are simply working from their map, and most importantly, they are just different. Nothing wrong and right. So then what happened, because it's not that I was not working on it. I was working on it, but mind's programs are so strong. This mind reading is so strong that I still became very arrogant when in 2018 somewhere, 2018, very recent, 6 years back. That was
Right.
the lesson. In a seminar where a gentleman, my friend had bought the ticket for me and called me because he admired me to attend their program. There, in the end, they wanted feedback, and I was bloody so bad in giving my feedback and so direct and candid that that night I couldn't sleep because I knew something wrong has happened. I knew that I should not have done that. Even if I was right, I should not have done that. And that next morning, I sent a huge apology note to the gentleman. And from that day onwards, because I have consciously worked in last 6 years on that. And trust
Wow.
me, it's a beautiful life. Beautiful. I don't judge. You will even see in my comments. Even if
Hmm.
I'm writing something, I will say I prefer to read it like this. Not that you are wrong.
Right.
I prefer to
I
read it
noticed
like
that.
this, right. If somebody's predator has come to swallow me, I will just simply write, "Oh, is that how you think?"
Hmm.
I will not abuse. I will not, go after them. I will not
Right.
even give any explanation or clarification because
Correct.
I think I'm living that. I am I, you are you. If we
Yeah.
meet somewhere, it's beautiful. If we don't, I am I, you are you. You do your thing, I do my thing, right?
Correct.
So that is social. Never, 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 never make any attempt to let the other person become like you. Why you want to have too many? I always say TWO, many. Why you want to have too many of you?
True.
One is enough,
Interesting.
isn't it? One is enough. Be unique
Beautiful.
and respect others.
Correct.
So that is social.
Super.
Spiritual ho
And I
gaya.
think the same way you managed to put your perspective and idea across as well in a very, I would say, polite, dignified, honest manner.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always say that I have another perspective. Then people use that in NLP and yes,
Right.
and right. That is NLP is in conflict management, but that is also taken by Improve from there, I think, or maybe Improve से NLP ने लिया. मुझे नहीं पता who is the originator,
Right.
but they talk about that yes and
Understood.
say yes and use and and घर से शुरू करो.
Lovely.
I
So,
always say, hmm,
quick input at this point. I think we're at 7:19 and about another 11 minutes to go.
fine,
We'll also quickly check. We have quite a few people who already, I think 10 entries already for the book draw. Others who have not yet commented, feel free to jump in and throw your hat in the ring. We'll happily give you a book.
okay,
Moving that away, we have Charu who's shared a question. So I'll bring that up, sir.
okay.
Uh,
Charu
and
Siddiqui,
yes.
okay,
So,
okay,
thank you, Charu, firstly, for joining us and giving us your valuable time. Lovely to have you here. The question is on the screen. There is so much noise around, it's very difficult at times to realize our core. Can you please help with how to go about focusing and identifying that core?
oh yes, oh yes. See, I am a sportsman, table tennis player, right? So we used to play matches in too much of noise. So we were given that kind of a training of focusing, right, Charu? See, I'll tell you, even at my home, this issue is there. Like my wife cannot tolerate any noise. She is not able to sleep if there is any noise. Whereas I just don't care. I just don't even realize that there is a noise. Okay, because I have become so much of what you call that. to be focused on myself only. See what practice we used to do with one of my friends who is no more now. When we used to play TT, we will go to that traffic chalk, that center where police stands, and when police is not there, we will go and sit there and focus. We will sit with closed eyes and focus on our breathing. With so much horns and traffic, moving around, we will like to center ourselves, because in TT, that focus, that concentration with the speed of the game was very much essential, right? That you should not be. So I think, Charu, the best thing to do is make a spot on the wall, keep looking at that spot, become that spot, forget all the noises outside, spend 5 minutes every day like that, and you will see wonderfully, you will be able to ignore those noises, and you will be with yourself. That practice is very good practice. We used to do that. We used to be given that kind of a practice. Easiest, it is easiest. Just keep on looking at the spot, focus with focus. Let water come from your eyes, let it flow, let it go down, let it be. वो मुझे पसीना आ रहा है, या मुझे ठंड लग रही है, या मुझे आंसू, don't bother about, let them come. Tears will come and tears will go. Your eyes will get cleaner, but your mind will become stronger. So the moment mind becomes stronger, what noise we are talking about, isn't it? I am able to sleep comfortably in any kind of a situation. It doesn't matter what is happening around me. So
Thank you.
maybe that practice of years, it takes practice of years and years and years. Like that, that sitting like this on rising sun, 7 years I did on dot, on, I never missed it, never for a day. You have to see, unless you do, how can you do anything else? You need to be action oriented. You can't keep on talking, isn't it? See, if I have not done something and I'm talking, in that moment I'm not being me, right? And I don't even know who I am being. Then am I alive in that moment, or I am dead? These are the kind of questions which hit me when I am, if I tell something which I have not done, and I tell that this is very good because somebody is telling that, because I don't know, मेरे यहाँ पे गड़बड़ हो जाती है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है मैं मर गया इस मोमेंट में, right?
Correct.
So, and then mental, जो आपने बोला, mental renewal, right? Mental. Let me share 4 lines. Maybe we are moving towards the end.
Yes, but there is a question that Rishabh has. I want definitely.
Okay, please.
If you
So
want.
let me finish that, then we'll ask question answer. We'll go. See, last is mental life. See, I remember I was sitting one day at home and I was looking at a plant which was dead. Plant was dead. My wife said, "This plant has died." I said, "What do you mean that it has died?" She said, "It is not growing." And you trust me, because I couldn't sleep that night. Why? Because I said, my body stopped growing at a certain age, maybe 2022, maybe 23
Right.
or 24. That age is something, in that period, we stop growing as physical entities, right? Now, the thing is, if my body is not growing, then where else growth should happen that should tell me that I have lived? And I remember I got up in the night and I wrote, आज अगर कुछ सीखा नहीं, तो growth has to happen here, right? If I want to be alive.
Correct.
आज अगर कुछ सीखा नहीं, तो फिर शायद मैं बड़ा नहीं, तो फिर शायद मैं जिया नहीं, तो फिर मैं हूं या मैं हूं नहीं. And then I translated it in English, right? If I haven't learned today, then I haven't grown, then I haven't lived, then am I or am I not?
Beautiful.
So unless you learn every day, do that mental renewal, you are not living. See, many writers are talking on this nowadays, but I think I wrote it 20 to 30 years ago. Luckily for me. So I definitely read something every night, and my reading is not 20 books a month or 10 books a month. No, I read one book and I pick up only those things from that which I can implement and experiment. Then I check them. You know, like Hugh Prather's book is there, if you have heard of that, My Notes to Myself, My
Right.
Struggle to Become a Person, My Struggle to Become a Person, right?
Hmm.
In that book, he wrote that whenever I find myself disliking somebody, I am being extra nice with that person when we meet. Are you getting this? This is very
Yes.
profound, very profound. I have noticed about myself that when I meet a person whom I dislike, I am being extra nice with that person when we meet. ओके, तो मैंने उसको हिंदी में कन्वर्ट करके एक शेयर बनाया, क्यों दोस्त बहुत मुस्कुरा रहे हो तुम? आई सेड रिवर्स शुड आल्सो बी ट्रू. इफ somebody
Hmm.
is being extra nice with me, it means he is disliking me,
Correct.
and I will be able to find out all the time, you know. So I wrote, क्यों दोस्त मुझे देखकर बहुत ज्यादा ही मुस्कुरा रहे हो तुम?
Hmm.
किसी अंधेरे कोने में मुझे मार के आ रहे हो तुम? Are you getting it?
I think
And
it's just the constant struggle we have with ourselves.
and no, I mean, see, नहीं, it is like the, have you talk bad about me somewhere कि तुम आज
Hmm.
मेरे साथ इतने अच्छे से मिल रहे हो?
Hmm.
क्यों दोस्त मुझे देखकर जरा ज्यादा ही मुस्कुरा रहे हो तुम? किसी अंधेरे कोने में मुझे मार के आ रहे हो तुम?
Hmm.
Are you getting it?
Right.
So I keep myself at arm's length, and backbiting is crime. I considered it as crime.
Correct.
So I think personal growth is all about becoming a person strong enough, very strong enough,
Right.
and self-actualized and unburdened रहना चाहिए. So मैंने जिंदगी में कुछ कुछ चीजें ऐसी की हैं, like people ask me what are your health habits. I don't have any bad health habit.
Right.
Nothing. I have never missed my walking in the morning for years and decades now. Okay, I don't take even supari inside. पान सुपारी क्या होता है पता ही नहीं है. Cigarette, दारू, non-veg, egg, nothing. But it doesn't mean I was not sick. Stress
Hmm.
is told. So
Right.
physical health, stress is the only killer.
Hmm.
See, I did not have any bad habit,
Right.
nothing. But still, I felt sick because stress took its toll. I couldn't manage manipulations. I couldn't manage politics. I failed. I never blame people that they
Hmm.
did it. I used to blame, but I am out of that. So I took responsibility. I failed to handle that. Okay,
Makes
the
sense.
moment you take that responsibility that you fail, see, you can hit me only if I am weak. Are
Hmm.
you getting this?
Yeah.
It's very
Correct.
simple. If your boss is
Hmm.
playing politics with you, it means you are weak.
Hmm.
उसकी हिम्मत कैसे है ना अगर तुम्हें दम है,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Agree. True.
You recognize the power. That is why he's powerful. I wrote that story. You know, once very famous story that became that the moment you put resignation, boss power is gone.
Yeah.
Power is only when you recognize it. If you stop recognizing that power, who can have overpower you? So whenever things happen with us, we have contributed in this.
Agree.
We are responsible. We are responsible.
Starts from there.
Unless we learn this, we cannot grow.
True.
It's not possible.
Super.
का करिए, अपने किए हुए अच्छे काम का करिए. बाकी नशे का क्या है? आप किसी भी लेवल पे पहुंच जाओ. That level is there up to a certain age. बाद में तो कंपनी आपको बाय बोलने वाली है. उसके बाद कौन हो आप?
Hmm.
Who are you fundamentally? Isn't it?
Right.
Basically, then you have to rework on your identity. You know, it's hard work.
Correct.
It's long road. Trust me, and you have to be work in progress all the time.
Super.
So I
Thank
think
you so much.
with this I leave it to you know. So I have
Sure.
covered every
We've
dimension,
almost
right?
out of time. You have covered everything, but I think we'll extend for a few minutes if that's okay with you.
With me, I can speak till 5 o'clock in the morning. No issue.
So
With the same
let's
energy.
take one
That
last
is,
question, which is from Rishabh. I think it's a relevant question for all of us. There's something that it'll be lovely to hear you talk about. What are some tips to attract abundance in life?
this is very interesting. I always said, I have already said that
Hmm.
spirituality cannot be explained. When things start happening, you know that you are connected, right? Even don't tell that to anybody else.
Hmm.
That is to be only experienced. When you say attracting abundance, right? It means you are manipulating. You want to manipulate something to attract it.
Hmm.
See, I want to attract Vikas. What should I do? I'm sorry, I am not a teacher for that, you know. You become a person of such stature, such
Hmm.
integrity, that automatically abundance will come to you. एंड व्हाट इज एबंडेंस? आपका इनफ आप डिफाइन करिए ना। आपके पास
Hmm.
1 करोड़ आ गया, आपको चाहते, आप 10 करोड़ चाहते हैं, आपके पास 10 करोड़ आ गया, आप 20 करोड़ चाहते हैं, इजंट इट? सो एबंडेंस के लिए कोई भी टिप नहीं है अदर देन स्टार्ट लेटिंग योर थॉट, वैल्यूज, बिलीव्स एंड एक्शंस align
Beautiful.
every day, every moment, and you will find abundance arriving. Number one. Second, you will stop bothering about abundance because you will become abundant.
Hmm.
Are you getting my point? और कितना कर लोगे यार, क्या कर लोगे, कितना आना चाहिए, क्या होगा उससे?
Right.
What will happen if you are unhappy?
Beautiful.
It's very funny, na? Person will buy a Mercedes, go after it whole life, earn money, buy a Mercedes, and then he will be fearing कि Mercedes कोई उठा के ना ले जाए. What is this? You know, this all keeps on happening in our
Fun.
lives.
Correct. And there is no
So
end to this.
we should take a pause, think. Rishabh, I hope you got the answer right. You can't attract abundance. It should appear. It should on its own decide that I want to go to Rishabh.
Golden
ऐसे
words.
बनो,
Golden words.
ऐसे बनो कि अच्छी सोचे खुद हो करके तुमको खोजे, तुमसे कुछ कहने के लिए, तुम्हारे दिल में रहने के लिए.
Super. Really
Right?
golden words, sir. I think beautiful. I think this will stay with me. In fact, as you were speaking, I was saying, "Isko to baad mein I will sit and rewind and watch this whole at leisure," because to be honest, one is coordinating, one is chairing the conversation. It's difficult to absorb everything, but this session is something I will definitely go back to. Before we close, there is uh, draw that we need to do for the book. We have let's see the number of people who applied and who's going to be the
Because
lucky winner. Let's just see.
winner gets my book also.
Oh, superb! So we have Anil
Thomre.
Tombare. Tombre. So
Thomre. Marathi mein
Tombre.
Thomre. He is Thomre. I am from Pune, so I know how it
Oh,
is to be
lovely.
pronounced. Yeah.
So congratulations, Anil. You get 2 books today. It's your lucky day.
Untitled Life's Random Lessons.
Superb. So we look forward to sending our books to you and hope to get your feedback as well. And before we close, there is a very sweet request from someone. I think he is known to you. Shrikant says, "Close karna hai to one of your poetry."
One of my poetry. Okay. Okay. Today only, in fact, I decided it for my niece. She has traveled from, she has gone back to Chandigarh.
Superb.
So, uh, I want to tell you, it was inspired by Khalil Gibran. Okay. Inspired by him. अच्छाइयों की ऊंचाइयों से लेकर, नहीं, सबसे पहली लाइन ये है, आसमान में उड़ते एक पंछी को जिसने मार गिराया था वो एक आदमी था। आसमान में उड़ते एक पंछी को जिसने मार गिराया था वो एक आदमी था। उस पंछी के जख्मों पर जिसने मरहम लगाया था वो भी एक आदमी था। अच्छाइयों की ऊंचाइयों से लेकर बुराइयों की गहराइयों तक आदमी की हद है शायद। उन्हीं हदों के बीच में ढूंढनी होंगी हमें भी अपनी हदें शायद। सड़क पर पड़े पिता को मेरे जिसने घर तक पहुंचाया था वो एक आदमी था। मेरी माँ की लाश के कानों में से जिसने बूंदों को चुराया था वो भी एक आदमी था।
Wow. Thank you so much for that very, very
This
touching.
poetry is for me. I have never published it. I have never printed it. I have never recited it. I have never tried to become famous. So my blog, anybody can read. It is English poetry, more than 1100 poems. I won a international haiku championship also. But I don't claim all these things. They are all for me, for my satisfaction, my own world, my own life, my own. I am my motivation as I've written behind, So rest doesn't matter.
Thank you so much, Ramesh sir. I think today's session was fabulous. really a heartfelt conversation. I think आपने
Thank you.
पूरे दिल से खुल के share किया, and the comments in the uh, timeline are already showing that. So I'm
Almost.
sure that we
Touch
will be
wood,
possibly connecting for a session 2 very soon, given the kind
touch
of.
wood, touch wood. God bless and love you all. And I thank everybody who has come in and participated because I was, trust me, for me, this is a first. See, many people have asked me for podcasts and all that. I have never gone because I need to, because I don't know from where they come from, right? How they have groomed themselves up and how where they come from and why do they want to do it, right? So unless I am very confident and sure about the person, I won't be able to take that step forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and wish you all the best. Look forward to keep getting your guidance, your blessings, and uh,
God bless Vikas, you are doing
learnings.
wonderful. You are doing
Thank you.
wonderful. जिगर वाले एचआर हो आप, मैंने बोला ना,
Thank you.
मुझे एचआर के लोग कभी बुलाते नहीं है. Nobody has ever invited me for anything.
Hmm.
Okay, but so आप जिगर वाले एचआर हो.
Thank you, sir. And really, thanks to the audience for spending your time with us. We look forward to another session very soon with another guest who has a lot to share, and something that will help you in your professional journey. So you'll hear about it on my LinkedIn tomorrow. And all the best to everyone. Let's meet again soon. Goodbye.